Thursday NBA slate. Not a great Wednesday slate for me. It's we know it's wild this time of year, and there's a lot of news that's happening. We're playing a lot of players that we're not used to playing. That's just the NBA as we know it right now. So just getting used to it. It was fun to do the live last night. We'll see how golf goes. But Sheets, how are you doing this morning? And what do you think about this? What is it?
Meanwhile, that guy, the Maswell, he held on by the skin of his teeth, by the way, at the end.
He had like 65 lineups that were right up there, though.
No, but it was that same one that the guy was trying to track him down with Podol. He missed by like 2 points. Yeah, and again, you got to root for the guys without the parentheses, always.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, sometimes they don't show the parentheses, so it's a little weird.
That's true.
Sometimes when the guys played all the lineups, I'm like, wait a minute, I know he's got hundreds of them.
So I think, you know what, does that mean that that's his first lineup? If it's
sometimes I think it does, but I think that sometimes I've seen it with guys multiple times. And then if you're looking on your phone, it doesn't show the number.
Ooh, so that's interesting.
So it's a little different. Anyway, this is not my favorite slate, just to be honest, at first look. And I have to keep reminding myself every time I say that I seem to have a decent day. But it's not a slate where I'm finding a lot of guys I really want to play. If you look at it, took the 10 guys who are most popular tonight. I don't know if I really want to play any of them as of right now. I actually know I'm going to have to, but we'll get into it. We should go game by game and just probably figure it out that way because it's kind of a mess as far as I see it, and a bunch of skeptical value, but potentially must have skeptical value.
I am probably not going to be around for live tonight.
All right, I'll be there.
But I will certainly manage to get. I will get projections up. But listen, I'll get them up. 5:30, 6 or whatever. But if somebody gets ruled out at 6:45, you guys are on your own. When I say you're on your own, listen. You guys should all have a subscription to SaberSim anyway. Okay. So if you don't have like the package, a TrueDFS SaberSim package, I would get it. This way you don't come yell at me. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, where Sheets, you didn't update at 6:52 or whatever it is. I'm just telling you, it's not automated. I do it all by myself. And there's just going to be times where I'm not up to date. And that's almost all the time, if you want to know the truth. So if you're the type that wants all constant updates, package the TrueDFS subscription with SaberSim. And I have to say this, SaberSim is like probably the quickest of them all to update anyway. So that's that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm always in Discord all through the night, and so are the other guys, and we're usually pretty good at keeping up to date on information. So with that said, Sheets, you ready to get into it? Let's pull your screen up and go game by game here.
Oh, look at me! I thought that I had my screen up. I think I do.
No, I just clicked it on.
Oh, okay. There it is.
All right. So first up, we have Utah, Orlando. All right, Chiefs. Why don't you start off with this one?
Well, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to also look at the way it all breaks out. So you have 6 games, 3 of them were at 7, then a 7:30, an 8, and then the must-see TV Knick game at 10. Right. So it's just something to think about here. Like if there's anybody who's questionable of like in that Knicks Sacramento game, I'm just staring right now. That being, for example, Brunson, it might be worth all else being equal, putting it off. But I just kind of look at it that way. But Utah, Orlando, I'm not really getting too much.
I did Utah, Orlando. I'm sorry, I went to Charlotte, Detroit.
No, you said it. No, you said it right.
Oh, I said it right. Okay, good.
You said it right. I'm not really seeing much of anything. I got Bonchero. Like if I had to play somebody, I guess it would be Bonchero, but I don't have to play anybody. Jalen Suggs at 4,300. He's rating alongside of Cole Anthony as kind of an okay value again. So yeah, I guess those 2 guys. So either Cole Anthony or Jalen Suggs. I see Anthony being owned a little bit more than Suggs this time, but not as much as he was before. So I like either of those guys, maybe Bonchero, and Utah. I'm really not getting anything.
Keep in mind, part of the reason those guys, we've been talking about them, is that Gary Harris has missed the last 2 games, and Gary Harris plays like 25 minutes a game and starts. So that kind of kills a little bit of the Suggs and Anthony. I still think I might take some shots on them. I think by the end of the day, they end up like completely unowned. maybe people take some chances on Anthony, but we thought that last game, and he was 4,400 and was literally like 3% owned. Yeah, but I mean, those would be the two that stand out if you had to play anybody. I do think that I don't think there's anything wrong with Wagner or Banchero. I'm just not like excited about it. And I don't have anything on Utah as of right now. If Kessler and Clarkson are out again, I wouldn't mind playing Markkanen, maybe more so on DraftKings, on FanDuel, where he's a little cheaper. But actually, even on DraftKings at 9,600, I would consider him on this particular slate. And I certainly would consider Kelly Olynyk, but we'll have that news before lock, the Walker Kessler, Jordan Clarkson stuff. All right, moving on to Houston, Indiana. So Jashawn Tate is going to show up as a really good play today. Projection-wise, let's just say I'm a little bit below the excitement level that I want to be. I'm okay with it. I understand that they're missing a lot of bodies, and they still have a lot of guys, though. The problem is they're going to play Knicks. They're going to play Garuba. Obviously, Jabari Smith's going to play minutes. Şengün, Martin, Eason, Christopher, Green, Tate. There's just a lot of guys out there, and I don't feel like it's as much of a lock play as maybe it's being looked at. It's a good matchup for guys like Jalen Green and Şengün. And I think Tari Eason has certainly proven that, we could probably afford to pay this price for him if we really wanted to. I have medium interest in all these guys, and this game looks like maybe something you could do is actually come up with like a different way of stacking it. Maybe play Nwora on the other side with Halliburton or something like that. And I think you have a nice little game stack. So I'm open to stacking this whole game, but I'm not in love with the players at the ownership that they're currently at, because there's just too many of them that are popular. When you have 7 guys, like, not 7, I guess they have 6 guys who are popular on one team, just kind of hard for all of those guys to get there. But I do think this game makes sense as a little, maybe like a 3-2 Houston to Indiana stack. I guess my favorite pieces of Houston being Green, Tate, and Şengün. But I don't feel like any of them are must plays, and they're going to be really popular.
I don't mind the Josh Christopher with Green and Şengün, and with all the ownership that's going to come to Brooklyn, I think this is the next. Well, it's either Brooklyn, Memphis, or this team, right? As far as values go, and I think this works. You know what I mean? But I think that you should stack if you're going to play these guys. So I like the Şengün, and he's frustrating. You know what I mean? Just when you think his minutes are solidified, he's going to score 50 fantasy points every game, then he's like, no. Sometimes he's nowhere to be found in the fourth quarter. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. For no reason. You know what I mean? He's like their best player. Like they still play him sometimes. Yeah. But with Porter out, I think Jalen Green is going to get a bunch of shots. And I saw Indiana just the other day. They threw up with Philadelphia, up 220 points through 3 quarters or something like that. Yeah. So they could definitely get going. And I think that the price on Halliburton is uncomfortable enough that maybe ownership will be kept low. And so if you want to play those 2 Houstons, as many Houstons as you want, not as many as you want, with Halliburton, I think it's just totally reasonable. I don't know who the second guy would be. Like if you said play a 3-2, 4-3-2 or something like that.
Yeah, I think depending on Neesmith tonight, whether he plays Neesmith or Nwora would be the first guys I thought of.
Oh, Nwora again. That's right. I forgot about that.
I mean, they're playing in minutes. I know we didn't have Neesmith the last game, but I mean, he's played, enough minutes for him to be somewhat viable at least. I'm not excited about that play. I want to see for sure who's playing for Indiana before I commit to how I'd stack it. But it does seem like the kind of a pace and price game that you could definitely get some exposure to stacking. All right. What do you got next? The next one is the Charlotte game, right? Yeah, Charlotte, Detroit. Well, look, you're down LaMelo, and all of these guys are in a great matchup of a game that they should be able to stay competitive in. I think Dennis Smith Jr. is probably my favorite, but I have no problem if you wanted to play Oubre or Rozier. And on the Detroit side, I think we're going to have all these guys playing, which has me just sort of meh on it. I don't.
Hold on. You have no Diallo. You have no Stewart. You have no Bogdanovich.
Well, okay.
And no Burks.
Obviously, I was only referring to the guys with the questionable tags. I'm not talking about everybody from Detroit's whole roster. Cade Cunningham isn't playing either, but I'm just talking about the guys.
But wait a minute. Hold on a minute. Who are we worried? I mean, why is Killian Hayes not going to just get all of the and Ivy, between the two of them and Bagley, isn't it the same thing? Like, aren't all these three guys just going to just soak everything up?
2K high price, sir.
That's true.
2K more for Bagley after failing multiple times. Jaden, I mean, look, you definitely can play these guys. I'm a little bit,
Oh, Durant is probable. That's the.
Okay. They're playing 11 people for Detroit. It's not like they don't have guys to play.
Okay.
It doesn't really make a difference because Corey Joseph's going to play a bunch of minutes. Isaiah Livers is going to play 30-something minutes. Rodney McGruder will probably play 30-something minutes. And then you have to figure in Killian Hayes, RJ Hampton, Marvin Bagley, Jalen Duran coming back, Wiseman. There's a lot of guys that can play minutes here. So I am not as high on this just for that simple fact. If you're telling me you're going to have a nice tight rotation, which we have not seen yet, or we haven't seen in general from them, they've had certain games where they've done it, then I could get more excited about this one. But I guess this game, you could talk about as a potential game stack, and Killian Hayes is totally reasonable. I think Killian Hayes is reasonable. RJ Hampton played really well, though, when these guys were out. So I'm not sure that they're going to just immediately play Killian Hayes 34 minutes or something like that.
Maybe. Yeah, Dennis Smith Jr. rates for me to be the best play on the Charlotte side.
Actually, they only have 10 guys for Detroit. I said 11. Sorry.
I think that if and obviously Rozier is probably a decent enough play. Would you play Smith and Rozier together or not really?
Not really. That's the other problem. The problem with Smith is that it's going to be still hard for him to get that many minutes. I mean, all the 5 starters play a lot of minutes for Charlotte. So that's the one thing about DSJ that might be a little bit of fool's gold. I think that you sort of just may have provoked my thought to thinking maybe I should be a little bit heavier on the Detroit side of this game than I am right now.
I kind of think, and again, I'm just spewing here, that this is Detroit doesn't have many games it can win, I guess.
Right.
And this is one of them. I don't know. I think Killian Hayes plays the whole thing. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think he does play 36 minutes. I mean, he had a left hand contusion. I mean, so he's not hurt. You know what I mean? He's ready to play. And with I don't know. I don't see Magruder or any of these guys bothering him. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's why I feel they try to win this game as best they can. And you say well, where's the tight rotation? I don't know. Maybe this is the game to do it.
Yeah, maybe they could. You're right. I think I have to reconsider that. I think the Detroit side of this game is, and Charlotte even down. I think this is another one that feels like it could be stackable. Mm-hmm. We're probably going to get a bunch of news later that we don't know is going to come yet. I don't think it'll necessarily be from this game, but if this game does get forgotten about, maybe we should switch over to this one. Also, the total feels a little bit low, but I kind of like that. Maybe Hayes and look, we know that Bagley can pay off this price tag. It's just with Duran back.
Yeah, that's tough.
Where all the minutes going to go? I don't know. That's the problem. What's that, Sheets?
Yeah, that's tough with Duran back.
Yeah, I'm just struggling with it with Duran because you have the guys you want to play, Duran, Wiseman, Bagley are all going to cut it into each other, and then Hayes and Ivy. I guess Hayes and Ivy would be the two that I would prefer. Then the problem is you have Joseph and Magruder are going to play a lot of minutes also, and RJ Hampton I think will play some mid-teens minutes or something like that. So
can Ivy pay off $7K? That would be nice if he could.
I think he can. In general, they don't play him a ton of minutes.
Yeah, I see.
He certainly has the ability to. When the balls have been in his hands, without Hayes, the last couple of games, he went completely nuts. But with Hayes, it's totally different.
Yeah, he's not. Even if, he's never played the amount of minutes I want him to play. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And even the few times he didn't really exactly light it up either.
God, it's weird with a 10-man rotation against Charlotte that we can't find better things than this. I guess Hayes.
I think I'm gonna try. I'm gonna start with Hayes, and then we'll figure
it out the rest later. Sounds good. All right, we'll move on to Golden State and Memphis. Sheets, why don't you start off on this one?
Yeah, same guys. And listen, I waxed poetic about how they need to do something with the Memphis salaries. I suggested that although Ty Jones could be $9K, they should at least make him $7,200. All right, not the worst. Okay, $6,700.
He finally failed once.
Yeah, right. Desmond Bain, $8K. Dylan Brooks, $4,800. I just have to think that all these guys are still in play. I just think they're all still just too cheap with Morant being out. So I even though they're not projecting to be quite as good as they were, as you might imagine, they have been priced up a little bit. Again, with all the Brooklyn cheapos that are going to get all the money or whatever it is, I don't know. I'll go right back to those same four Memphis guys I mentioned, like Tyus Jones, Desmond Bane, Tillman, Dylan Brooks. I mean, this game could be fun. I don't know. Like we got Curry coming to town, right? Speaking of which, do I want to try that? Do I want to try Stephen Curry? Let me see about that. You mentioned that he wasn't missing at the beginning of his. He played 35 minutes.
I think he played 8. I think he made 8 of his first 9 threes or something like that.
So he's gotten, since he's come back, he's had 42 fantasy points in 32 of his first game back in LA, and then went freaking ballistic at OKC.
They still lost.
And they still lost, but I don't know, man. Maybe do they need to win games?
Yeah.
I mean,
but what's the going ballistic mean like for him? Like 60 fantasy points is not.
60 is fine for me in a game I'm stacking. No, I mean,
I think like I would project Halliburton to be ahead of Curry more often than not.
Oh, really? Okay.
Like I don't think there's a huge gap between those two plays, and Halliburton has everything in his hands. In fact, I would bet Halliburton probably projects better than Curry.
Probably.
Yeah, he's projected out.
No, I actually have
really close.
Yeah, I have Curry by like a point. I mean, so basically point per dollar, they're the same.
Yeah, Saberson has it a little bit the other way with Halliburton. Yeah, it's yeah, man. I don't know. I could certainly skip the argument for Curry, and he's we know he can go off and he's not going to project well. He is interesting at low ownership. I think that's interesting.
We got two stacks. I mean, we got a Houston, Indiana stack with the overpriced Halliburton. We got the Golden State, Memphis stack with kind of the the overprojected or not overprojected, just like kind of like the overpriced maybe Curry. I don't know. I kind of like both that. Then you got a Charlotte, Detroit stack. We could full fade the Utah, Orlando game, and we got all. And then instead of like stacking all these Brooklyn guys, maybe just take pieces or something like that, and then lose to Julius Randle at midnight.
That's fair enough. What you're saying. Nothing like immediately stands out to me. I'm always a little bit wary of the DiVincenzo chalky situation. I just think it's okay, but I try to do anything I can to avoid it. I actually think if there was a time to play Draymond Green, this would be an interesting game to do it.
Okay.
You have a fast-paced environment against a team that there's a little beef. I mean, there was certainly some bad blood between these guys, and they had a really, really close playoff series last year. Maybe not. I don't know if I can actually quite pull the trigger on the Draymond, but I don't think it's the worst idea in the world. I just can't find anything I fall in love with on the Golden State side. Curry, I guess, would be the most. If you're going to just take a chance, why not? I'm just not into it. I have my favorites on Memphis are Jones, then Tillman, then Desmond Bane, then Jaren Jackson, and then Dylan Brooks. But I think all 5 of those guys are really good plays tonight. So especially the first 4 I mentioned, Jones and Tillman. Tillman was projected to be like 40% owned the other day, but because of all the news, guess what he ended up being owned? Like 3% or 4% or something. And he put 39 at 5,400. Yep. Now he's 5,900, but I think those guys are all really solid plays in that matchup.
What's the spread in the Brooklyn Milwaukee game?
Spread right now it's only 12 for Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I just want to point out that I'm not saying this will happen tonight, and I agree that you're going to have to like try to find some of the right nets. The problem is this is a much more highly volatile situation, and I get that this is not like even Detroit right now. They've got 12 guys, right? 12, yeah. They've got 12 guys available. We have no idea who's going to be eating up the center minutes necessarily. We're assuming Day'Ron Sharpe, but he didn't play the last game, and Nerlens Noel has played 17 minutes and is projected to start. So we're really speculating on this one, which we kind of have to do. And I'm kind of struggling with it a little bit because I think Day'Ron Sharpe is assuming that he's not even starting. I just think he's a good play anyway. But if he's starting, it's really hard to ignore him. Sumner will be another one who projects really well. I personally would side with Cam Thomas. We've seen what he's done in this situation. And why is Seth Curry projected so poorly? I don't quite understand that. I think that he has an upside on his minutes tonight a little bit. But I have him ranked Thomas, Sorry, let me just grab it. Sharp, Thomas, Sumner, and then I'm not giving a huge boost to Dorian Finney-Smith. I would play him maybe in a stack if I thought the game would stay close. I do think Mikal Bridges is mildly in play at 8,500. And then on Milwaukee, it's basically just Giannis or nothing for me, probably.
I have Sharp on a point per dollar basis rated the best. Then Cam Thomas, Curry, Noel, DFS, Sumner. But I mean, I talked about this at midnight last night. I mean, it doesn't seem that long ago. Dude, Cam Thomas can score like 60 fantasy points.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, especially if he's, I mean, I hope he starts. I really do hope he starts. I just want to make sure he's started. Maybe he doesn't.
I don't think he'll start for what it's worth.
You know,
it just my guess would be that he doesn't start. I actually don't care if he starts or not.
I mean, look, he's like an incredibly high usage guy, you know.
Yeah.
So with Dinwiddie, I mean, where else is this ball going?
Seth Curry.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Bridges, Joe Harris.
I guess.
Patty Mills, Edmund Sumner.
I suppose, but I don't know. I think I think Cam Thomas is the best play. Day'Ron Sharp certainly makes sense. I mean, the center against Milwaukee thing, but you know, like how many minutes is he really going to play? I don't know.
He's a pretty good fantasy point per minute guy, so he doesn't need many.
Nerlens Noel. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I want to play that. I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe just play.
What about when Noel starts? What do you do?
Yeah, then if Noel starts, I don't think it matters for Sharp. Sharp's going to have to play.
Some minutes, yeah.
Yeah, like Noel doesn't have like 20. I don't even think Noel has 24 minutes in him, does he? I mean,
he played his first game back. He played 17 minutes. I mean, Sharp hasn't played in games. Neither has Cam Thomas. Was basically out of the rotation completely. Didn't play in the last game.
What I'm saying is Nerlens Noel like played a max of 21 minutes this season. So
yeah,
I think in either case, I mean, Sharp has to come in. You know.
Yeah, I agree. He's definitely going to play 20. I think we should assume he's going to play 20 minutes. I wouldn't assume any more than that.
Yeah.
For either of them, to be honest with you.
Well, do they have another guy that could get in there?
Why do you need another center?
I guess not.
I think there's an old school thinking thing that people think about those matchups, and it really mostly doesn't matter. Like unless you have a high, like an Embiid type of center, you know what I mean, or Jokic. Lopez, well, he's a big man. He's not going to play 48 minutes for one thing. Bobby Portis is really truly a 4, not a 5. So I think that they between the two, Noel and Day'Ron Sharp, they should probably play 38 minutes, and then there's probably 10 minutes that split out with Watanabe and guys like Finney-Smith and stuff, maybe playing the 5.
Like anybody else? So you just mentioned that that your favorite was that it's either Giannis or nothing. And I guess that makes sense. It's always fun to speculate on blowout stuff just in case.
Yeah.
But well, look who's back playing basketball.
And I didn't
even realize that Jay Crowder. I had him the other day by accident. I'm like, why am I getting Jay Crowder? And he was like the only guy that did anything for me.
Yeah, you're really behind the times.
Yeah.
He's been talked about all season long. He was like the most important trade piece during the deadline and everything. Like,
I didn't know he actually was playing, though.
That's so saying, yeah, it was this a matter, not really the most important trade piece, but he was like the guy who was linked to the most teams and everything. Well,
in any case, what's wrong with him?
The only reason he did any of that was because their entire team was out. He's probably going to play like 16 or 18 minutes.
Yeah, but if he's like the most important trade piece, why are they not going to play him?
Not the most important trade piece. It was the most linked to trade piece, I should have said. But, well, how are they going to play him? They have Joe Ingles, Bobby Portis already off the bench, Javon Carter, Pat Connaughton already off the bench. He's technically like their 6th man. He'll play a lot of crunch time minutes, but he's not going to play a bunch of minutes, and he's not a high usage guy.
Well, I don't want the crunch time minutes.
You're just looking at a number that had of one game where Giannis, Holiday were both out. So wait, does Portis start or no? No, he started the last game because Giannis and
Well, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, like, remember we used to play Portis and blowouts all the time coming off the bench? Maybe we should do that.
Really reaching like for any of that stuff tonight.
Okay.
Like, these guys couldn't even get there when they didn't have Giannis and Holiday.
All right.
If it happens, it happens. Like I just don't see any. Like it's such a too cute play to me.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not the one sitting here saying I'm 100. It seems like a blowout game because they're really good at blowing teams out. But I don't think it's like some sort of a lock that they get blown out. I mentioned that the other night with Boston, and of course Boston wins the game. Like these people treat it when they're missing starters like it means everything. It really doesn't. If you have a reasonable culture, and in Brooklyn's case, 15 really good basketball players on your roster, you're going to be able to at least compete in games most of the time. But yeah,
all right. So we gonna hold anything back for this Knick game? You want to play a Sabonis Randle lineup just for funsies, or is that just asking for it?
I think like the tricky part is they priced up the other guys, so it's kind of hard. I don't think I have no problem with Randle. I think that's reasonable. I think it's a good matchup for Mitrov. I just if we're assuming Brunson's back, then everybody else is too expensive.
Right.
If Brunson's out, then I would say just go back to those guys, but we're probably not going to have that information.
Would you play quickly at 6,600 if he were out?
100%. Okay. Not 100% of my lineups.
I know what you mean. I
would definitely play him. Yeah, he would probably be in a lot of my lineups. And for what it's worth, on the other side, I mean, the Knicks have been giving up a lot of points lately. I have no problem with Sabonis on the other side. This is a game you'd think you'd want to like just try to target, but the pricing makes it kind of tricky, huh?
It was a good call by you the other day with the Mr. Herter.
Oh, I know. I wish I would have followed through on that one.
Yeah.
Didn't end up keeping him because of all the other stuff that opened up, but I really wish I would have.
He was rubbing it in too. He was up with like 13 points with like 30 seconds to go. He was like shooting threes. He was after it.
Yeah. I know he doesn't usually get his chance. It's such a great game environment, but we've seen Sacramento where they score like 150 and give up 145, where like only two of their guys get there in a big way, So I think I would just stick with the Sabonis, Fox, and Randle as my plays in this game currently.
I mean, you could do it. You know what I mean? Like you could play all this. And as we mentioned, I mean, Giannis doesn't have to get there. That game could blow out. We already talked about Curry being, just okay. I mean, where are the fantasy points going to come from?
It's a really good point. Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything else on this slate that I feel so especially great about. So why not have the Randle Sabonis or something like that as in the late night game? I think it's completely reasonable.
I know exactly what I'm going to do tonight. And I say that until like all the news comes out as soon as we hit send on this, right?
Yeah.
We hit send, then Giannis gets ruled out. Like all this stuff. It happens all the time. But I'm probably just going to make literally just stack builds. I'm going to build Houston, Indiana's, Charlotte, Detroit's, Golden State, Memphis's, and I got to play maybe one or two, the Brooklyn, Milwaukee, and a couple Randle Sabonis's. That I'm just going to be in full commitment to correlation.
Multi-stacking. Yeah, I have a rough one breaking this one down this time of day. Like right now, I've got sort of the same kind of thing you're talking about. Individual plays that stood out to me. I still like the Memphis guys. I like Tyus, Tillman, Bain. Just nobody. I really don't like this slate very much, but that means there probably is some edge to be had. I'm probably going to wait a couple hours before I get all my picks and everything out there because I just feel like we're going to hear about news that we don't know yet. Like, wouldn't it be nice if we heard about Brunson this morning so we could at least adjust to that game now? Or we might have to speculate, but it's like not like these guys are at the prices where we want to speculate anymore. So just kind of tricky.
Right.
But I'll be live at 6 Eastern to try and help you guys narrow it down. Right now, it's a little bit feel a little bit torn in a bunch of different directions and not really liking any of my builds. Maybe it's going to be a lowish scoring night. Is another thing I was thinking about as well. Well, not as low scoring as last night, but a lowish scoring night.
That was pretty weird last night, right?
Yeah, just ugliness all over the place.
Well, everybody gets injured. Ingram gets injured. Luka gets injured. I mean,
yeah. Of course, now that I say it's going to be a low-scoring night, we're going to end up with like 9 guys out and all the value in the world. And it's just like
Halliburton and Curry both get 70, and then
Yeah, something like that. All right, guys. Well, good luck to everybody. Yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys at 6.
I'll give you guys a little bonus because I'm not going to be around for live. Maybe I'll do an NHL one a little bit.
Awesome.
All right.
All right. Good luck. Take it easy, everybody.
Sounds good.